So guys, I gotta make this video. This is a new series I'm starting. Specifically, I wanted to wait until the NX got announced, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. I didn't want to switch away from that talk anytime sooner about video games anytime soon, but um, things have gotten hyped. Anyways, I'm gonna start talking about Dragon Ball, specifically Dragon Ball Super, and the reason I'm talking about it is because of the recent episodes. Too many great things are happening. If I just ignore it, I'm gonna lose I'm gonna lose the ability to talk about it. Um, Specifically, I want to talk about what's this new transformation, especially Super Trunks from the Super Future Trunks. Anyways, what is a lot of people seem to be like having an idea that it's like a false Super Saiyan God or something like that. And I wanted to clarify certain things. Specifically, like a lot of the things I'm gonna mention aren't gonna make sense. Specifically because I'm gonna have to make a few videos to get to where this actually makes sense. But I'm gonna analyze a lot about it, especially about Dragon Ball and what's going on. And specifically, I gotta talk about what's canon in this series and why canon matters. Canon matters for various reasons, but specifically it matters because I really feel like Dragon Ball has a lot to do with the mind of the original writer, which is Akira Toriyama, and specifically it's because it's a mental state. Everything that's going on, it has to do with like a certain mentality, and every time a new writer comes in, they change that concept. Even you can see it with like how people reinterpret things on YouTube and stuff. Like I think a lot of people are wrong, and a lot of people probably are gonna think I'm wrong. And this is clearly why canon matters in Dragon Ball. And the reason I'm bringing this up now is because I'm gonna try to delve into what the mentality of the writer is, specifically to try to answer why what I think Super Trunks is at this moment. I'm gonna say, starting off, it could be a false god form or a false Super Saiyan Blue god. But to start off with, like, I'm gonna try to explain this, what the god form was. It's kind of confusing because the god form between both the original, like, Super Saiyan God, the red one, and then the blue one, they seem to be two different things. One, depending on what you're viewing. If you're viewing the anime, even the movie, it seems like Super Saiyan God, like the red one, was only something that was attainable through that 5 Saiyan Super Saiyan ritual. However, the Super Saiyan Blue God, or Super Saiyan Blue, it's a state that's attainable through your own training and will. And I think that's very specific. And I think it's because, like, in the anime, if you look at the anime, originally it kind of looked like the Super Saiyan Blue form was weaker than Super Saiyan God, the red form. And the reason for this was visible in the sense that, like, he was fighting almost close to the strength of Beerus, so if he got even stronger, he wouldn't have to worry so much about Beerus. And this would make more sense because, like, when Frieza comes back in his golden form, he's even stronger than Super Saiyan Blue, so why was he afraid of Beerus? Anyways, that's another topic for another video. All I wanted to point out is that maybe in the anime, Super Saiyan Red is stronger than Super Saiyan Blue, especially since Super Saiyan Red was destroying the universe. Yet this doesn't seem to be the case with Super Saiyan Blue for some reason. But I think the explanation for that is also because I think that part of it was not canon. And the reason I say it's not canon is because it's not in anything besides the anime. And it also had one scene where it split both Kyojins to get apart, whereas in the manga and in later on in the anime, it's because they wished on Dragon Ball. So, like, that's the whole thing didn't seem to actually have occurred. That just seems to have been added to pat down to lengthen the episode. And the reason episodes are lengthened in Japan is it's just a thing. Like, they have like a tiny manga and they're kind of waiting for it to expand. But I think it's partially because of greed. Now they just want to make as many episodes as possible so that they can keep showing it and have people viewing it and keep advertising it for as long as possible, even though the material is kind of short and they can do it in much shorter time. And this kind of sucks because, like, if you're a fan, like, for instance, of One Piece, like, you would notice, like, the whole last arc with Don Quixote, like, it just went by so slowly. It was like they took one page and they made the 30-minute episode. Not even that, because if you watch the anime, like, the whole first 15 minutes sometimes is just like the intro and then like clips from last episode. It's really unbearable. Like, it's really unbearable. At least to me, it's totally unbearable. I would prefer the show to just be a 15-minute show and they didn't have to show any of that other stuff. But whatever, like they take, or even then, I would prefer them to take breaks and then show something else rather than what they're doing. Like that's just, for me, it's atrocious to have to wait like 15 minutes to get like a 15-minute episode, which is just padded out to some extreme. It's really unbearable. They're doing the same thing. They've always done it with Dragon Ball, but now they're doing it even, I would say, in Dragon Ball Super kind of worse, because they don't have a manga to wait. They're just doing something to lengthen the show, which is kind of annoying. And then on top of that, I wish they would wait for the manga, because like the manga has better choreography in the fights, and in the show, the choreography I feel is really bad, and I think that's what really kills the animation. Especially nowadays, the animation has gotten much better since the show started, but the choreography is just not as good. It looks fantastic in the manga, and it's really lacking in the anime. On top of that, things that happen in the anime and in the manga are somewhat different, and that's because both of them are taking notes from Akira Toriyama, and they're just coming up with things as they go based on those notes. So in the sense, Dragon Ball Super, as it is I would say or argue that it's not entirely super canon, but it's slightly more canon. I mean, it's more canon than GT, definitely, because GT was not canon at all, and then as well, the movies weren't canon at all, whereas this is kind of canon, but I'm going to explain not everything is. It's mostly just the slight bits of the story. So on top, what I want to point out, since it's not entirely canon, some of these things are not as they're just gonna seem, and the way I feel like you can actually figure out what's canon is by looking at all the source materials, or all the materials that are available, just so you can kind of like pinpoint what the source material was trying to say. So if you look both at the manga and if you look both at the anime, then you can deduce like if something's in both, and if in case there's a movie, three things, like if you look at all three things and it's in everything, then I would say it's more canon. But if it's not if it's only in one of these things, it's questionable. It doesn't mean that it's not canon, but it's just very questionable. Like I would say the universe gets destroyed by 3 punches kind of thing. The fight between Beerus and Super Saiyan God Goku, that's not canon at all. And I do believe like Super Saiyan Red is weaker in a sense than Super Saiyan Blue. However, in the anime, it does seem like Super Saiyan Blue is weaker than Super Saiyan God Red, because it's a form that's attainable. Basically, what Super Saiyan Blue is it's an attainable way of getting Super Saiyan Red without actually going through Red. This is why Vegeta never goes Super Saiyan Red. You don't need to do that first. But in the way I see it, anyways, is that Super Saiyan Blue is stronger because it is partially them gaining the God Ki without having to do the ritual, but at the same time, it doesn't require you to go Super Saiyan Red, and you can just make the form stronger and stronger with more, like with time and with training, it gets stronger and stronger, whereas Super Saiyan Red was stuck at the strength of whatever the other 5 Saiyans were as well. So this is specifically a form that you can strengthen over time. However, unlike Super Saiyan Red, I think it is more depleting of energy because you actually have to attain it yourself, and you have to actually transform into Super Saiyan, which is actually, if you look at all the rest of the series, it kind of drains the ki or the energy of the person using it. So getting to the point here, I think the Super Saiyan transformation that you saw from Trunks or Super Trunks is actually more akin to Super Saiyan 4, or the actual true Super Saiyan 4, than it would be to anything that anyone's saying. Like, if you look at Super Saiyan 3, it's the same thing. They're all different forms of the same thing, and Super Saiyan 3 is very specific to Goku, and I'm gonna make another video about that to explain it, and it's why you don't need to go Super Saiyan 3 so that you can go Super Saiyan God, which you can see Vegeta never went Super Saiyan 3. It's not a form that needs to be attained. No form needs to be attained to do the other forms. Trunks never went Super Saiyan 3, but he can go, I'm saying Super Saiyan 4, which is what I'm guessing this could be, or at least you can call it that. I would like to call it that. They're probably going to explain it as something else, like a Super Saiyan form that's infused with Super Saiyan God Ki. And the reason it's infused with God Ki is specifically, it's because, like, if you look at all the other series, like, when Goku first transformed into Super Saiyan, no one else has done it for so I think 1,000 years or so. And the reason everyone can do it after they saw Goku is because they know what it is now. The same thing with Trunks acquiring God Ki. Now he can see it, he can sense it, he knows, like, he has somewhat of a feeling what it is. Like, he mentioned prior that he felt the pressure from Vegeta, and feeling that pressure, he probably could figure out more or less, or feel it anyways, especially when he was enraged like he was. He tried to encapsulate the same kind of concept that was Super Saiyan Blue, but instead it came out as this other form because he doesn't have the actual training. So in a sense, he did acquire Super Saiyan or God Ki, form came out like this, which I would say is more akin to Super Saiyan 4. And that's, I think, what you're seeing, basically. It's another Super Saiyan form, but it's one that's different from all the other ones. And that's why I'm calling it Super Saiyan 4. I'm not sure they're going to call it this, but I'm just going to call it this for now. I'm guessing this is what it is. I might be wrong, but from every other, like, if you just look at it any other way or analyze it any other way, it makes more sense that it's this than anything else. Because the other thing's a mess, and I think this is actually quite important because it's going to change certain things in the series. Specifically, I think eventually what I would like to see is that Gaki is attainable by other people, and Piccolo is about to begin fighting, so I'm hoping that Piccolo can also get Gaki and become more of an important, more useful character. Since I mean it's all Saiyans right now, and that's kind of boring, so it would be neat if all the other characters could also learn how to use Gaki. I think in a sense it would be possible, because even if you look at Golden Frieza, he had kind of like the same sparkles as Gaki would have, so it seems to be more of a form that you attain through immense strength as well, not just how to attain Gaki, but Gaki is separate from the other keys, so it also is something that you can sense. It's in there, and it requires huge concentration, but it basically requires training, immense training, until you can actually figure it out. And basically what Whis did was like point them to the right direction and show them how to attain it. So now that they know it's there, it should be attainable by others as well. And in this sense, this is why, say, Super Trunks acquired it. But he also just encapsulated it into it being as opposed to actually using it and transforming into it. It was something completely different. But again, it's like another Super Saiyan 4 form. I mean, it's another Super Saiyan form, so it's probably going to deplete him. Unlike using it as Super Saiyan Blue, where Goku has already stated that it uses less ki than any other form. On top of that, I want to explain that part. When Super Saiyan Blue was used in the anime, it was also used with the Kaioken, and that doesn't seem to have been the case at all in the manga as well. And I don't know if that's actually truly canon. I really wish it was, because it was pretty neat, but at the same time, it's never been used again. And this fight, specifically the fight against Goku Black, you would think that Goku would use it, but he hasn't used it, so I'm guessing it wasn't really canon. I think it was some neat fan service, but it wasn't anything special. Like, it wasn't actually something that was actually used. I think it was something, unfortunately, that wasn't canon, because it kind of didn't make sense, but at the same time kind of did. And I feel like something there was off, so I think it wasn't actually something that was canon. I think it was something written by the show creators, as opposed to something that was actually in Toriyama's script, so that kind of sucks in a sense, but it makes sense because he hasn't used. You would think he would use Kaioken to try to be stronger than Black, but he's not doing that, so I'm guessing it's not. So the actual strongest form at the moment is Super Saiyan Blue, and it's going to be surpassed in the near future by something else. I think Trunks came onto something, and then I think it's going to be used by other characters in time to make another transformation. Anyways, that's everything I have to say. If you guys find this interesting, I'll make more videos. Anyways, guys, I'm signing out. Have a good day. Bye.